We're going to talk briefly with Representative Stephen Lynch. He's a Democrat of Massachusetts and a member of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Congressman Lynch, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good to be with you, Mimi.
As I just said, you do serve on the Oversight Committee. Now that the bill has passed and been signed by the president to release all the files, where does that leave the committee, and will there be further hearings? Will there be witnesses called? What will you be doing?
Well, the committee is run by Republicans right now, so I can't be specific, but certainly we've got an existing trove of about 38,000 documents. I don't know what the FBI will add to that, but I think it will be considerable because these investigations go back to, I think, 2008. So you've got, 15, 17 years of investigations here, and we think there should be a rich amount of information as to the activities of Epstein and his associates.
The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia was at the White House yesterday, and there was all kinds of events going on with that. There was the announcement of the sale of F-35s to the kingdom. Wanted to get your reaction to that, and if you were fully on board with the president on that.
I'm a bit worried on a couple of levels. One is the transfer of technology. Saudi Arabia hasn't always been a loyal ally. As you might remember, there were 19 hijackers on 9/11 from Saudi Arabia. We had an extensive investigation of that attack on our committee. So I have some real misgivings about that. They're sometimes allies and sometimes not. The second is the transactions going between Saudi government and the Trump family. There are literally billions of dollars in benefit to the Trump family. President Trump himself has given the Saudis or Saudi entities the ability to use his name on certain developments within Saudi Arabia, for which he receives licensing fees directly. So with this change of, they're in business deals. Jared Kushner is in business deals with the Saudis as well. So you've got a lot of money going from Saudi Arabia to the Trump family, and now you've got U.S. military technology going from the United States under the direction of President Trump to the Saudis. And it looks like a quid pro quo, and I'm nervous about that. I'd like to have some transparency here and find out what are the details here, and what do our military leaders think about this transfer of technology, and what do the courts think about this remuneration, emoluments that are going to President Trump and his family from a foreign government.
You voted against the deal to reopen the government. The current CR takes us through the end of January of next year. Do you foresee another government shutdown? What do you think is going to happen at that point?
I see the strong possibility. I can't predict, but I see the strong possibility of another government shutdown, especially if health benefits, Medicaid funding, Head Start. I have a lot of kids in my district that desperately need the support of Head Start programs. SNAP, food for the poor and for children. Those are pretty basic elements of what we do at the federal level. And if those aren't included or sufficiently funded, I would have a hard time approving that.
What do you think Democrats learned from this past shutdown fight?
Well, hopefully we learned that you got to stick together. When you're in the minority and you have moments where you can exercise leverage and you have the support of the people behind you, we have the support. We had hundreds of thousands of people come out in my state supporting the Democratic position in that shutdown, and yet we had 8 senators who decided to cave. So hopefully we learn from that, and you've got to be together. And sometimes the impact of a situation is so dire and so harmful that to the people that you represent, that in order to sustain your oath of office and your responsibility as a representative, you've got to fight. And we didn't fight, not to the end. We should have stuck in there. We were right. We were right on our positions, and yet a few of us caved, and now we have these consequences where we really didn't help many people. I know that several of the senators that changed their votes said, "Oh, I did this for the federal employees." Really? There were 200,000 federal employees laid off by the Trump administration, fired by the Trump administration before the shutdown. We did not get one of them back. So if you did this for federal employees, you forgot 200,000 of them who needed your help and support. And so I believe that is a specious argument that they were doing it to help federal employees.
So what is happening on healthcare in the U.S. Congress, and what can we expect before the end of the year? Or are you convinced that those ACA subsidies will expire and those people that can't afford it will not be on healthcare?
Okay, so we've got a couple of questions there. One is we've got some amendments that would obviously grant an extension. I think for 1 year. I think that's what we're looking for right now. Do I trust that the Republicans will be open to that? Because it was a very loosey-goosey type of commitment to take that up. They didn't get much in terms of these senators who caved. There was no tangible benefit. We got a promise to a promise. It was very vague. So here's my thinking: if Donald Trump and the Republican House and Senate were willing to deny food to children and shelter and basic benefits to the poor, I don't think they're going to sit down legitimately in good faith and negotiate the extension of those ACA subsidies, which are considerable. A lot of people could not qualify for the ACA when it first passed. It was the subsidies that we put in under Joe Biden in the American Rescue Plan Act that actually spiked the number of people who could qualify for that program. So without those subsidies, most of the people who are on the ACA will not be able to afford their premiums.
All right, that's Congressman Stephen Lynch, Democrat of Massachusetts. Thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.